This podcast is part of the C-Suite Radio Network, turning the volume up on business.
Welcome to the Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer. Join us as Deb talks with her guests, experts in their fields, as they share real-life stories and techniques to power up your business.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And today we're going to have a great discussion going back to a little bit of my roots, which I probably was in this business maybe before my guest, maybe before my guest was even born. I mean, that's kind of a scary thought. But, we're going to be talking a lot about marketing and some changes, some new trends, old trends, all of these various things. And to me, that's fascinating because that is what I started out doing in this world of business. So, as I said, it's going to be great fun. So please join me in welcoming Ryan Cote to our program today. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks, Deb. Happy to be here.
Great. Well, let me tell people a little bit about you before we jump in. So Ryan Cote is the Director of Digital Services and partner at Ballantine, a third-generation, family-owned direct mail and digital marketing company based out of Fairfield, New Jersey. With Ballantine since 2003, a family-owned business started in 1966 by his great-uncle. Ryan now manages the growing digital marketing division. From lead generation to marketing strategy for small businesses, Ryan and his company rise above the get-featured quick schemes so often attributed to digital marketing. He loves to geek out on technical marketing talk as well as work with the real world business owners about growing their book of business in today's online world. So again, Ryan, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I love the whole get rich quick thing, or get noticed quick. How many times do we have clients come to us and say, please make me go viral?
Right. Or they want media results.
Right. And they always have. Like I mentioned, I've been doing this for over 20 years. And we've always had clients that have said, make us $1 million, sell our product, get us visibility, all of these various things. And what they don't understand that unless something, weird happens, it's all about building brand loyalty,
Right.
making people see your message multiple times. They're not going to see your product, see your service once and go, oh my gosh, I must buy that. Every once in a while it happens. We get lightning in a bottle, but that doesn't really happen. And so I love that you guys combine several of the big marketing aspects into your firm and really work on focusing on those.
Yeah, I mean, we find that generally when you combine different channels, it's really hard to rely on one channel nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much noise out there.
Right.
Everyone's wearing multiple hats.
Mm-hmm.
They've got distractions and just general life, and so we find that multiple channels is really necessary now because you need to be in their inbox, in their mailbox,
Mm-hmm.
in their social feed, on Google, and so we try to really synergistically combine different channels to get results, and that's not just marketing speak. That really is what we find to be the best,
Right.
the best use of marketing dollars.
Well, one of the things that I mentioned in your bio is that it's a family-owned business and has been since 1966.
Yeah.
And, I always like to ask my guests how they got to where they were. And you kind of had this family business.
Right.
So, was it a given that you would always enter? Or did you think, no. How did you really decide that this was going to be your passion in life?
So I have a marketing degree, so I knew I was going to be in marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go into the family business actually right out of college. So
Okay.
I graduated college in 2001. Yeah, so for 2 years I had other jobs. I had two
Mm-hmm.
other jobs. They were in the marketing space.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in Crestkill, New Jersey, a small little town that
Mm-hmm.
I heard of. And then I worked in New York City.
Okay.
So I had other jobs outside of family business for a couple of years. And I honestly did not think about coming into the business. I don't know why. I don't remember going back that long, like what the reasoning was. I just didn't have any interest, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
My middle brother, who's on the print side, he went to RIT for printing. And we were strictly direct mail. So that was that's what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came into business like 3 months before me. And I think once he came into the business, I started thinking, you know what, maybe this would be kind of neat to work with my brother. And And so I approached my dad and my uncle, and I gave them, at that time they didn't have anyone doing marketing for the company.
Right. So you really had to pitch them.
I did have to pitch them, and they were interested because they didn't have anyone. They were kind of doing marketing themselves. They were doing trade shows, and they were. It's kind of funny to look back at some of the things they were doing for the trade shows, like to get people to come into the booth, sending out like almost like gift cards, but tearing one in half and then mailing out and say, hey, for the other half, come to the booth.
That's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think it actually kind of works. And they were kind of go more grassroots. And then I just said, yeah, I'm interested. And, they made me, we thought about it for a couple months. I wasn't making an impulse decision. And lo and behold, now, what is this now? 16 years later,
Wow.
I'm still here. And I'm, one of the partners of my other brother, my third brother, he actually had a job for about 10 years doing finance operations for a big travel company in Boston. He came on board 3 years ago. So we eventually, my mom's very happy. She has three boys in the company. So that's kind of the path.
It's one of my family members seems to be making its presence known. One of my cats, and they never meow. And now all of a sudden she must be lost.
I don't hear anything, so.
I know. Yeah, she's she gets poor little thing. She does get lost, and so she wanders around till she finds me. But so if she keeps meowing, that's what's going on. But
two cats too, so.
It's interesting to be in a family business. I'm never have, and that's my family was not in the type of industry that I would be joining. And so it's always curious to me about family businesses because, more than anything, I think a big part of it is the fact that businesses don't last that long, and so you've got these businesses, whether it's, say a serial entrepreneur who, has their business, sells it, goes on, all these various things, or the children just really aren't interested in it. So, what do you like about working in a family business? And obviously it's working for you because you've been there so long, but, is it, tell us a little bit more about that.
What I like about it, so I think the reason, you're right. Most companies don't last this long. And, I think it comes down to, we all have our set roles. And so my uncle is very good at sales and managing big accounts. My father was also very good at sales, but he also was very good with financial, finance and operations. And my brother Scott, the youngest, when he came on, that had a job for 10 years, that was his role before. So he kind of, when my dad retired 2 years ago, kind of filled that gap because myself and my other brother, Matt, and my uncle, they, we're not really, that's not really our strong suit. And so we all have our clear defined roles. And I think that really helps a lot. And we're respectful to each other. There's really no egos at all. So we work very well together. So what I like about it is the fact that we get along. Obviously, it's kind of cool to work with your brothers and uncle and trying to grow the business, the wins, the losses, and just, brainstorming. And, now we have a full team. For a while, honestly, it was just me on the marketing side.
Wow.
And then when we started to do digital, it was still just me. And now we have a full team of, there's 10 on the digital side. It's a little weird for me to come into the office and see everyone like sitting there. And I'm like, oh, it's still,
that's my group.
Yeah.
My peeps.
And the team is really, everyone's really cool and everyone's really fun and similar work ethic. So it's for me now, it's really fun to come into work in addition to my family and having a team. And I guess there's some, we're all very entrepreneurial, so it's just fun to work with your family and kind of just brainstorm about business and stuff. So for me, it's just a fun thing every day.
I always worry about, what happens if there's conflicts. Are you then going to have really uncomfortable holidays? Or, and that can happen no matter what. But, it's, I like the idea, and it would have been interesting to have been in the type of business like that. But just wasn't my father worked in Colorado for the Division of Wildlife. And so, state of Colorado employee, great job. He absolutely, but not really something that a kid follows into, because he's a state employee.
Right. Yeah. And there is no separate, like you mentioned, the holidays. So we do have some conflict sometimes, but it's never really, we're all pretty laid back. So it's never, even in the really tough times, it's never escalates to the point where there's serious friction. So that helps a lot. But yeah, there's no separation during holidays. We do talk
Right.
about this, but it's not like our wives don't seem to care. And
Mhm.
it's not excessive by any means. I mean,
Right.
maybe a little bit of chit chat, but it's not.
Well, you mentioned your mom. She's probably going to cuff your ears if you're quibbling over the Christmas dinner.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Great. Well, I suppose we should get back to talking about marketing and things like that. I love that your company was originally a print company. And, when I was looking on your website and researching things, it really did bring back a lot of memories for me of when we did print campaigns, and we did big print campaigns because, of course, it was much less expensive to run a 10,000 piece run, or you couldn't even do it. The equipment didn't exist where you could do much smaller runs.
Right.
And we did, your basic postcards, and all of these things. And what I love is you have now transitioned into doing such specialized pieces. And we won't really go into much detail. We want people to check out your website and see some of the things you do. But I love how you're still using print as a very big part of marketing, because so many people went, direct mail. Oh, no, we don't do that anymore. And you guys are still using it very successfully.
Yeah, print, honestly, is still a very big part of our business.
Mm-hmm.
Digital is gaining on print, but print also had like a 45 year head start.
Mm-hmm.
But print is still a very large part of our
Right.
business. I mean, it's really two different audiences though. So on the print side, we usually work with very large companies that do a lot of mail. They need help handling it.
Right.
For certain demographics, print still works very well, like travel.
They expect print. They're not going to look at something online.
They want it. Nonprofit, huge for print. A lot of nonprofit clients. So yeah, we still, print's still a big part of our business. Is it changing? Yeah. Back in the 80s and 90s, it was just huge campaigns where, targeting was sort of an afterthought. It was kind of just like, let's mail to everyone. Kind of like
you bought the zip codes in a certain area, and that was about as targeted as you got.
I mean, the AOL mailers that we used to do, they would just mail to anyone with a a mailbox. So
right. Computer,
yeah. So now there's still some big campaigns, but they're less common. The data has gotten really strong, so you can get really targeted with your campaigns. And like you mentioned, the printing presses have really evolved, where nowadays you've got digital presses, you've got really specialized presses, you can do video mailers, you could do these crazy packages that just weren't not packages, crazy formats that weren't possible back in the day.
Right.
That's kind of how it's evolved. Pretty neat.
Well, and die cut and colors and all of these various things. It was interesting. I was reading a book for one of our guests in April, and he was talking about pitching himself as a speaker to various companies. And one of the things in his book he said is, always use a really brightly colored envelope. And then when he follows up with, and it's probably just an envelope that he gets, at Staples or whatever. He said, but then when he follows up, he said, remember me? I'm the one who sent you the pink envelope. And he said, they always remember that was what it was. And and I remember those things when you get it and it's a little bit different. You're like, oh, this is cool.
Well, because you want to stand out. You made me think of a client that we still work with, New Jersey Monthly. They're a regional publication here, obviously, in New Jersey. And they tested, they for a while, they were mailing us like a white, it's called number 10. I think it's just like a business envelope. And a white envelope. And they tested a bright green envelope, and that one beat the white. So it looked a little bit funky, but I think that was the point. It kind of stood out. Right. It stood out from the rest of the noise that everyone's getting. So it's, the colored envelopes just kind of standing out can work.
Yeah. And, that's something pretty simple and pretty basic, but we don't stop to think about it. And as you mentioned earlier, a lot of times we're relying too much on one method. Of course, the new as in the last 10 years is digital. And we think, well, I'm going to post on Facebook because that's where everybody is. Or, at least hopefully generally, we're going to have a website, because that's where it is. But it truly is about combining. And, I love that you work with clients and you tell people, it has to be, when you're combining things like that, it really is about having synergy. Your direct mail piece can't, if you're directing somebody to your website, they've got to look the same, all those various things. And so talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so one example comes to mind. We're working with a dealership, and we're doing all their digital, all their print. And so, yeah, everything's synergistically combined. And so like we're doing a postcard for them,
Mhm.
emails for them to rented email data to people in a certain geo that are in market for a certain vehicle.
Mhm.
And the print looks very similar to the digital. They're pushing the same offers. The social ads that are going up, same thing. It
Mhm.
all kind of just weaves together. And we honestly, we try to just push that here, almost like force it where, you know, everyone has their own specialty here, but we try to kind of force everyone to work together,
Right.
share things by putting meetings in their calendar to kind of get everyone to talk.
Mhm.
Because you can't rely on one channel, like I said before. Like look at Facebook. I mean, two things come to mind: the fact that they just throttle down their organic reach to almost nothing.
Right. Those algorithms change all the time.
Right, and now all the data, the privacy issues they're having. Now they started
Mhm.
removing all the previous targeting selects that were
Mhm.
available to advertisers. So you just can't rely on one channel, and it's just that's evidence and proving what's happening with Facebook.
Well, and the other thing, and this just always drives me nuts, and I focus on social media when I'm working with clients, but probably several times a month, at least it's dwindled. It used to be more that people would say this. I'm not going to have a website. I'm just going to have a Facebook page.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's and you really try to not roll your eyes at them or because Facebook is owned by Facebook. It's their
Right.
toy.
Right.
And I don't care if it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. Those things come and they go. I mean, look at the other platforms that people, Google keeps trying all these, and maybe I'm hoping they're finally giving up on these things. But, all these other, MySpace, I think somewhere out there may even still have a MySpace page. We thought, wow, that's the coolest thing. And then it changes and or goes away.
Right.
And so by having your own website, that's yours. And I think that's what so many, especially small business owners think, it's expensive, it's complicated, and I can just have a Facebook page. Well, that's nice until Facebook says, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to advertise to the people you wanted, or, you sound kind of political, so we're not going to let you post.
Right.
I do some work for business associations, and we had a speaker who was from the Georgia Department of Labor. And he was talking about labor trends. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting program. We could not advertise because they said it was political.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't have enough time to go through the hoops and bells of being declared non-political. And so, and the funny thing, we took out Department of Labor, and then, the ads went through. I mean, that was it. But, it is about owning your own real estate, and making sure that you've got that.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. You want to have definitely, if you're building your platform on someone else's platform, it can go away at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Look how many people built their business on Google organic, search
Right.
engine optimization.
Mm-hmm.
They make so many algorithm updates, even
Mm-hmm.
one that's recently as March 12th, 2019.
Right.
So you can't, you do have to own your own website, and it's not expensive. You don't have to have an agency or marketing company do it. You could get at least something going on your own.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then when you're ready to invest in a more professional site, then you
Mm-hmm.
you make the move. But you definitely need to have your own site.
Right. So what are some other ways that we really need to integrate our print? And, and many people need to be doing print. I mean, even if it's just as basic as your stationery, your business card,
Right.
How do we integrate our print and our digital marketing?
I mean, so here's some ideas. We already discussed, but basically if you're sending out a postcard and sending out, an email, obviously you want the two messages and the creative to look
Mm-hmm.
similar, assuming that they're going out at the same time. But with Facebook, for example, and even LinkedIn now, you can, all right, so let's say you're doing a multi-pronged approach. You're
Mm-hmm.
sending out a postcard to a list. Okay. You also have their email addresses. So then you're
Mm-hmm.
an email to the same people that are getting the postcard.
Mm-hmm.
You can take that mail file that has postal and email, and you can upload it to Facebook, and now you can upload it to LinkedIn.
Cool.
And then find the matches.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be 100%, but it could be,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the data, it could be high. And then so a certain percentage of the people are going to get your postcard or whatever the piece is, your letter. They're going to get your email in their inbox, and then they're going to get your ad in their LinkedIn and or Facebook feed. So that's a very doable way to kind of integrate all the channels together,
Mm-hmm.
Multiple touch points. Sorry, I almost hit my mic there.
Right.
Multiple touch points
Mm-hmm.
To increase response rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we see most commonly.
Right. And they used to say that you had to see something 7 times before you actually decided to buy it. And, I've never seen an updated stat. It has to be updated simply because we get inundated with so much now that, we really need to beat somebody over the head with something multiple times before they pay attention. But it is about being in those multiple platforms. I might get the postcard and I see, 2 or 3 Facebook posts about it. And then, something, the 8th, 9th time, whatever, triggers, like, oh, yeah. But it's built on those other things that were out there. And, and again, we can't rely on one thing. I have so many people that say, nobody responded to my Facebook ad. Well, if that's the only thing they're seeing, it's really easy for them to miss it. Same thing with direct mail. I mean, it can get, caught in something else, get thrown away, all of those various things. So we have to do multiples.
Yeah, because you don't know what their buying cycle is. For example, you don't know where they are, in terms of buying what you're selling, whether it be a product or service. And you're right, the timing needs to be right. That you might send them a postcard or a mail piece, or an email, and they just might not see it because their kids are talking to them, or something's happening where they're just distracted and they don't see it the first time around. So there's so many variables that go into it. It's why it just takes multiple touch points. And, multiple messages. Yeah, I don't know what the updated number is, but yeah, I would say it's probably higher.
It's got to be much higher than 7. And it's really funny. I've never seen it updated. But yeah, I mean, just look at, I forget how many, they now say we see like 1,000 messages a day. If, more if you're somebody like me who's on Facebook all the time, or somebody who's watching a lot of TV, things like that.
Maybe we don't want to see the updated number.
I know. Yeah, because as marketing people, we think, oh, we can't do it. There's no way we can't do it. But yeah, so it is interesting. And it's, again, it takes repetition. It's sending it over and over again. But, you mentioned this, and let's delve into it a little bit more, is knowing who your market is. So how do you work with your clients to really get them, because, I'm sure you hear it too. Who is your target market? Everybody? No. So how do you work with your clients to really get them to hone in on who they are truly trying to market to?
Yeah, I first of all, I agree with you, Deb. If you're marketing to everyone, you're really marketing to no one. So what we do to help, and this is to help the client, but it's really to help us too, just to make us more successful. This is the way we do it. We start off every new client engagement, and this is not a pitch for Ballantine. I'm just explaining the process. We start off every engagement with a positioning statement exercise. So we get with the client and we understand, what do you sell? Who do you sell to? Why do customers buy from you? And that kind of gives us an idea as to when we're creating content for them or creating an ad for them on Google or what have you. We know, what resonates. First of all, who are we speaking to? And then what resonates with them? Like, why do they buy? What are the factors for when they make a purchase of your product or service? And so, obviously the client needs to have some sense as to, those answers.
Hopefully they do. They can tell you that.
Yeah. If it's a startup, then it takes a little more research, but, and that really guides our whole strategy, so when you're running Google ads, what keywords are we going to bid on? SEO, what keywords are we going to go after? When we're running LinkedIn ads or Facebook, LinkedIn ads, what job titles, what industries, what groups? If you're buying a mailing list, same thing. So you need to know those answers. What do you sell? Who do you sell to? And why do customers buy to you? Like, what resonates? What are they really buying for? What are the factors when they're making a decision? Right. And that kind of guides the whole strategy.
And again, it is, what they need. It was funny. I was talking with somebody earlier today. I am very active in the dog show world. Yeah, it's very strange. And there are dog shows. And so people typically get the information about it in a little printed document. It's called a premium list. And, and that's the way they've done it since, and of course that's that your favorite phrase. Well, that's the way we've always done it. And, recently though, they've started saying, well, it's online only. That's great, except a great number of the people who participate aren't online or aren't online savvy. They might have Gmail, they might still have AOL. They know obviously how to go to websites and things like that, but downloading a PDF, doing online entries, things like that, they just don't know how to do that. Right. And so the people who have said, well, let's make it simpler, have actually gotten rid of part of their market. And whether that's good or bad, I mean, maybe they meant to do that, but it really was a discussion we had today because I noticed it said this is online only, and I thought, no.
It is that reminds me of a client we have. It's an association that caters to dentists, and a lot of them are older,
Mm-hmm.
and they tried to push just a newsletter that was through email, and they
Right.
got, they had a lot of requests like, hey, we actually like getting the printed piece, mail it to us, please, too. So yeah, you really, it obviously depends on your product and your service, but
Right.
you want to offer both mediums. And a lot of companies will ask you, do you want to, even like bills you get, do you want to get the statement in the mail, or do you want to get?
I know.
e-statement?
The weird thing, I pay everything online, which I probably shouldn't say here, but I still want the printed copy. And I know I could get it and print it, but I want them to pay those costs. But yeah, it's exactly what you say, is knowing your market, knowing how they want to be reached.
For me, and it's kind of a little bit off topic, but for me, it's same as books here.
Right.
I like to, so I do read on my Kindle just for convenience, my phone, but I do like having like a printed book and
Right.
better. It just feels different. Obviously, it feels different, but it just the experience is different, I should say.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's funny. My business books I will read online. I read the PDF, I read the e-versions, whatever. And maybe part of that is because then I can kind of make some notes and all those various things. But yeah, my books that I read for personal enjoyment, I like the physical book. I like that feeling. Now, you and I were sharing before the program that your father collects books. My husband collects books. So I never, ever dog ear a page or write in it because I'd get in serious trouble. But yeah, there's just something about still wanting that book. And same thing with newspapers. I get a physical newspaper on the weekends. I like to sit and read. And, you're in the land of the New York Times. So, the people that still get that puzzle, they might not care about anything else, but they want that.
Yeah. Yeah. And my wife's now late grandmother, she used to do the puzzle all the time. She loved it. So bringing back memories here.
And certainly there's ways to do it online, but it's just different. And I'm assuming that she was probably one who did it in pen.
I don't remember.
I
don't remember those details.
I have to do them in pencil, because I'm like, oh, that's really not what that word was. Okay, so, but holy schmoly, we really digress there. But actually, it is it is making the point that we have to know who we're going to reach. But then, of course, the key thing is actually getting that information back. Just having them see it and go, oh, what a pretty ad, does nothing. We want to turn them into leads. Yeah. So what are ways that we can drive leads with our digital marketing?
Yeah, so this, this question alone could take us to the end of the interview.
That's great. I love this stuff. Like you geek out on some, I geek out on this.
Okay, so, all right. So there's different marketing channels are going to produce different results. So for example, we spoke about the fact that it takes multiple repeat exposure to a prospect, and it does. But there are some channels that it takes a little bit less because they are further down the cycle they're further down the buying cycle.
Okay.
So for example, search engine optimization and Google ads and Bing ads, Yahoo, not to leave them out, but you're bidding on keywords. So depending on the keywords you're buying, and targeting in SEO. You're going into the ones that are more commercial intent. It's someone that knows that they're looking for something. They're looking for a solution. They're looking for a product. So for example, shoes versus Adidas red sneakers or something like that. Someone typing shoes is in research. They're just looking for what their options are. When someone's more specific and they're going to Google, they're typing in that keyword. That's someone that's pretty much there to make a purchase. So we do that with our clients. So a lot of our clients are B2B, so it's more like company keywords, service keywords, maybe product keywords, depending on the client. But we're targeting people that are further down the cycle, they have a need, and they're looking for something. So we find that SEO and Google Ads, they tend to convert a little bit higher because just the nature of what I just described. It's someone that's further down the cycle. They hit your site. Hopefully you've got some good call to actions, which takes me to the next point. You want your website. You need to have a website. Okay, scan some
yes.
Have
the website. Let's hammer that into people.
You can use Facebook to get leads, but you want to have a website. So you want to have strong call to actions. Obviously, it needs to be mobile responsive. It needs to have secure URLs. That's best practice. You might as well do it now. It's not expensive to do it. It's free, depending on your hosting company. Mobile responsive, fast load time. strong call to actions. Call to actions meaning like, hey, buy now or sign up for our email list or contact us. And just don't just rely on your contact link in the header. That's fine, but you want to have like your phone number in the top right corner, email address. You want to have buttons right at the site. You want to have opt-ins. We're even testing something right now called push notifications. So if you go to Ballantine.com, you'll get a little notification in the top left. It says Ballantine.com.
It did. Do you wish to receive notifications? I would not now.
Well, if you had said allow, when we send out our emails and our blog content, we send a little push notification out. Like, it's all value. There's no like sales pitches. Like, hey, check out our blog post. And so it's like things like that, like call to actions where you're prompting a person to either sign up for your push notifications, sign up for your email list, contact you. That is really that's really the foundational stuff.
Right.
Obviously, you need to have a way for people to reach out to you. So going back to the strategies, Google SEO and PPC, pay-per-click and search engine optimization, those tend to convert higher because someone, they have a need, they're looking for you. And then there's things like social media that tends to be a little bit more brand awareness. It is, but sometimes the timing is right, where the person, they come across your Facebook or your LinkedIn post and they are actually looking for what you offer. But you can kind of fuel the fire with advertising. Facebook nowadays, you have to advertise in order to get reach on your content. LinkedIn, not as much, but eventually they'll probably be like Facebook. Instagram, they're sort of in the middle, so owned by Facebook. But you can run advertising campaigns. So using LinkedIn as an example, you could target job titles, you could target industries, a lot of other things, age, all that. You can even target groups. So you mentioned the dog show. So I don't know, maybe there's, obviously there's going to be dog groups out, dog owner groups out there, and you can target people that are part of those groups. So you can get pretty specific. So while social media is a little bit more brand awareness and just brand building, like building your authority, you can use the advertising platforms. They're collecting all this data on us, and then you can run ads to a very specific person. So you might not get the timing right, but you're going to get in front of the right person. And so the odds are a little bit more in your favor. And then obviously, with social advertising, the softer sell, like trying to get an opt-in versus trying to get them to reach out to you for a quote, you're going to obviously get more leads if you're just trying to get an email from them. So think about that as well.
Right. Do you have something of value like an ebook or something? Something that's going to get them to give you your email address.
Right. Exactly. And then you have to call them and try to convert them into a customer. But that's like beginning in the funnel kind of strategy, getting them into your world, onto your email list, and then you go from there.
Right.
Content. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about content. So for content for us, it's an SEO strategy because we're here optimizing all our content. But one tip I want to give the audience, actually two tips around content in terms of lead generation and really organic, building more organic visibility is we're seeing a lot of success with transcription blog posts. Have you ever tried to transcription blog posts? Basically, for example, like this interview, you transcribe it, but you can't just put it, you want to transcribe it and then edit into a well-written blog post. So you start with the audio, you transcribe it, and then you edit it heavily into like an actual blog post. And we use that for some of our clients that have more technical topics or they want it written in a specific way.
Okay.
So say, let's suck out all the knowledge from your head and we'll transcribe it, and then we'll turn it into an expert level blog post that you can share on social, you can put on your website, and content like that tends to convert higher because it's like, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. I need to work with them. So that's really effective. And then the last thing on content, and then I'll stop talking, is looking at old blog posts, okay, especially ones that are doing very well.
Right.
And then revising them, adding to them. Don't change too much of the copy because there's a reason why Google's...
Right. Yeah, they liked it for a specific reason.
Right. But add to it. So if it's 600 words, make it 900 words or whatever the number is. And as of right now, time is recording, that always increases the organic traffic to that blog post.
Interesting.
There's more opportunities to convert into a lead. So, that's
well, and blog posts, it's funny, blog posts, people were like, oh, they have to be really short. Oh, they have to be really, really long. And I said, but write it the length it needs to be. And now if it gets really long, can you break it into two? I mean, that's the thing. But, and it's that way with anything, people like, well, you should only write a 2-sentence Facebook post. Well, if you can say it in 2 sentences, sure, but if it takes longer than that, take longer, or write it, you mentioned those very good words that people never remember to do, that fun little call to action. Maybe it is just 2 words, but maybe it's click here to read more, whatever it is, make sure. And that is one of the things, folks, there is a call to action, even if it's just comment or, share or whatever, give people something to do. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Ryan, but one of the things that I have noticed is people seem to think they need permission. When I was blogging for a long time, people would never comment. And so then nobody's reading it, those type of things. But when I added the little sentence saying, please comment below, people are like, oh, okay. Or if you tell people on Facebook, share this. For some reason, they think they need permission. So, do that. Make sure that you're telling them, hey, it's okay to share this and comment and all those things.
Yeah, tell people what you want them to do. Don't assume that they know. Don't assume that they know what you want them to do. There's a book called "Don't Make Me Think." It's about conversion rate optimization.
I like
Just
that.
make it really simple. I'm actually reading a book right now called it's called "Making Websites Win." I think it is by conversion rate experts or something like that. Really good. It just gives you a lot of ideas on how to take your website and make it into a winner.
Right.
Simple little thing that we've found that works. If you're on WordPress, there's a plugin called Call Now button, and it's called Call Now button. It's free. If you have WordPress, it's only usable for WordPress. But basically, just adds on your mobile device. There's a couple different formats. It can add like a little circular telephone button, or it can add like a little bar at the bottom, and the person just has to tap it, and then it calls.
Cool.
It calls you. Tweaks like that can make a difference.
Right. Well, and it made it easy because, we're looking at it on our phone, and so if you have to stop and go and look up the number, if you're like me, it's like, oh, squirrel. And then I forgot what I was going to do, and I totally forgot that I was going to call them. So if you make it to just where I get to the bottom, and, I've read it and I think, okay, this is great. I want to talk to them. Oh, look, there's a button, and we're not, I had somebody one time, we were designing some sites and they said, you're making it dumb. You're dumbing it down. Well, no, we're not dumbing things down. We're just making it simple. We like simple. Simple works.
It really does, honestly. You need to keep things simple. Have you ever run like video usability recordings on any of your sites? Where basically
no. Oh, what are those?
There's one. There's a whole bunch out there. The one we're using. Is it okay if I mention a product? We're not telling them. Okay. It's called Hotjar. We're just a customer. We just started using it maybe a month ago for our own site, and maybe it's something we'll roll out to clients. But basically, you can do like heat scroll maps. So you can see how far down.
Yeah, how far down did they go?
How far down did they go? We learned on our homepage that no one goes past the initial header. I shouldn't say no one. Most don't go past the header. Now, is it because our navigation and buttons are really strong, or is it because we need to adjust something? Right. You don't know what you don't know. Since you have like a scroll map, you don't know how far people are going down. And the other thing is you could do video recordings. You could literally record people, and they blur out like any confidential information.
Right.
But you could see people interacting on our site. Like, for example, we saw the other day someone went to our Meet the Team page, and they literally went to every single person, looked at their name, their job title, because you have to hover your mouse.
Oh, that sounds like me. Oh, dear. I did that today.
Well, we were watching you. So it's things like that. You make improvements based on the data you get back.
And the heat map thing, I love that because, the trend seems to be, and I love watching trends with all of these things, is that, they've got this huge graphic image. Now, I have 2 great big monitors sitting here in front of me. And so, I'm probably going to see something besides your graphic. But on many monitors, you're only going to see that big graphic image. And you look at it and you go, it's pretty. And then squirrel, like I said. And so if you have nothing that people can see, it's the old, for those of us who are of that age, the below the fold. You've got your newspaper that folds in half. Are people going to look at what's below that?
Right.
So same thing with your website. Are they going to go down far enough to see what you really want them to see? And if you really, really, really want them to see it, then it needs to be further up.
Yeah, don't assume they're going to scroll. Whatever's important, keep it at the very top of the page. We even recommend, they're called sticky headers.
Right.
You might be familiar with, where it's basically the top navigation.
Yeah, it just keeps going down with the content.
And we have call to actions. In our case, it's our phone number and our email address, and it just follows you as you go down. So just like little tweaks like that, and keep on testing different things and seeing what comes back. Make sure you're tracking your phone calls. Make sure you've got all your conversions set up in analytics. Sounds technical, but it really is not. Just watch YouTube video, and it's not hard. Track your form submissions, track your phone calls. We use CallRail for that. It's a paid service, but it's not terribly expensive, and you need to be doing it. And make sure you're looking at your analytics a lot, and just use the technology out there that will show you what your visitors are doing, and how many are converting, and what you can do to make tweaks to get more leads.
So now, Ryan, one of the things though that I'm thinking as you're talking about this is this works great for a big business with a big budget. What about small business owners who are just thinking, oh my gosh, this costs so much, I can't do it? What are ways that a small business, not that they're going to compete with the big guys. I mean, let's be honest, they're not competing, the little mom and pop coffee shop is not competing against Starbucks. Now they might compete against the Starbucks around the corner, but they're not going to draw Starbucks business away. But how can small business owners still compete in this day and age?
So are we saying in terms of the strategies, or in terms of just making their website better? Oh, it's strategies?
Yeah, let's talk strategies.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, so most of our clients are small businesses. Obviously they're hiring us for our services.
So they're not itsy bitsy, but yeah.
Not itsy bitsy, but if we're talking about like itsy bitsy, yeah, I mean, it does take money. I mean, you could do SEO. It just takes, if you have more time than money, then you have to do things that take time and not money, like pay-per-click.
Right.
Click, because you have to pay Google, for the ads, or run very, very, very small campaigns in like a very specific zip code, where it won't take more than a couple $100 a month to run ads.
Right.
Spend time on things that take time. So SEO, search engine optimization, you don't have to necessarily pay for anything there. You can do all the keyword optimization and all the SEO work yourself.
Right.
Content, write your content. Spend a lot of time in creating content. Make sure the content's all keyword optimized. Social media, that one is more money now, because you really have to pay to play. So I guess if I had to say the two strategies, let's not forget email. Let's hope that they're building an email list.
Right.
And MailChimp is free up to 2,000 subscribers as of right now. So you've got MailChimp for emails, you've got SEO, doing it yourself, and you've got creating content. Those three things alone, that can get you going.
Right. And of course, one of the keys is we want to be found, and you've mentioned SEO and things like that. And, long gone are the days where somebody goes to even page 2 on a Google search, and so I think, and we also can't cheat anymore. I remember when we first were designing websites, and this was before WordPress was, even a figment of somebody's imagination, and we were, using HTML, and you still do, but, you really built the site on all of that. And so you inserted keywords and all of these things. And we would have, people that would say, we want to put our competitors' names in the keywords, because then if somebody looks for Walmart, they're going to find us, or whatever that keyword was. And then, of course, Google went, and you can get penalized for that. But, that I think that is something that small business owners, we want to be found, because if you're not found on the search engines, and, we'll just keep using the generic term Google, but what are some other ways that people, can make sure that their website comes up higher in a Google search?
So if we're talking about local businesses, definitely make sure that you're on Google My Business. So if you go to google.com/business, make sure you've got your business on there, name, address, phone number. If it's a home business, you can hide your address, name, address, phone number, the right category, your hours of operation, a description, a layout of all your products and services, photos.
And it's free, folks. It's free.
It's free. It's your time. Time is money, but it's free.
Right.
So spend a couple days just really going crazy on that thing, just getting it fully filled out. And with My Business, you can, and My Business, in case anyone doesn't know it, it fuels Google Maps. So Google Maps for local searches it pulls it pulls the information from Google My Business. So if you're a local business, you absolutely need to have,
Right.
and oftentimes Google will create its own listing of you, but it's not verified. So there's some disadvantages. You want to either create your listing or verify your listing.
And you mentioned something very important in there, and I hit on it because it's something that's near and dear to me, that you can hide your home address.
Yes.
I home office. This hasn't happened in a long time, but I don't put my address on things like business cards and things, because years ago, I remember, and this was actually when we were back in Colorado, 3 different times people came to my door. I mean, it's a house.
Oh, wow.
It looks like a house. You've gone to a house. And, one was somebody selling insurance. Another one was somebody, they were all trying to sell me something. And they couldn't understand why I was a little miffed that they just appeared, I'm in my T-shirt and sweats, and things like that. And so, as a home-based business, whatever it is that we've got, we kind of got leery of that. Or we would go like to the UPS store and we would rent a post office box and things like that. But I love that on Google My Business, you can still have your presence and just have your address hidden.
You can. And if you don't hide it, what's going to happen is Google will, they take pictures of all the homes.
Right. Mm-hmm. It gets confused then.
And if you don't hide your address, it's actually going to put a picture of your address.
Right.
So versus your name. The right side is your information, and that's pulled from Google My Business. It's going to have a picture of your house. As soon as you hide it, it doesn't use the house. It uses whatever photos you uploaded. One other thing I want to mention, Deb, is in terms of SEO. So Google My Business, that's an absolute must. Also, you want to make sure you're having the right, and this is sort of like a basic tip. I think it's really important, and it's a free tool, so I want to mention it. No affiliation, just something that
we like free. Free is good. Free is good.
It's called, it's a guy by the name of Neil Patel. He's a pretty well-known marketer, content marketer, and he bought a tool called Uber Suggest, so UBER, ubersuggest.com. I can't remember, but if you just Google Uber Suggest, you'll find it. And he bought this tool. He's using it as a marketing thing for himself, because he gets a lot of traffic from it, and then he pushes his own services because he's got a digital agency. But it's a really good keyword research tool. So you can basically go to Uber Suggest and then put in whatever you're selling, and you'll get a whole list of keywords. How many people, how often people search for it per month, how competitive it is in terms of SEO, and then make sure that you're either creating content around those keywords or that your content is using those keywords in a natural way, of course. But that's a free tool that's pretty helpful. It'll at least get your audience going in the right direction.
It's not get out the thesaurus, folks, and just list every single, because that's what I've seen people do. I'm a speaker, presenter, trainer. Okay, you are, but use those words in different places.
Yes. Yeah, make it very natural. You can keyword stuff nowadays. And it goes back to conversion rate, getting leads. No one's gonna come to your site and read this really keyword stuffed block or wall of text and be like, yes, I want to contact this person. It needs to really flow well as well, flow too.
Right. And it's not all that complicated or difficult to do this. The trick that I have seen kind of comes back to, the people who say, well, everyone is who I'm trying to sell to. And as small business owners, and we talk about this a lot on the program, we don't want to miss any opportunities, is maybe the best way to put it. So we don't fine-tune our market enough. And so, you mentioned the difference between a specific brand of Adidas and shoes. If you put in shoes, you're probably not even going to come up on a search unless it is, a physical location type of thing. And somebody, they sell shoes and they're 2 miles away. Right. But, it's one of those where the more specific you are, the better it will be. Because you don't want to be on page 20 of a Google search because you only put shoes. I mean, if you sell hand-painted floral little girl shoes, that's your keywords.
Right. And you can use Uber Suggest to make sure that people are actually searching for it. But yes, the more specific you are, it's easier to rank generally. Depends on the niche, of course. If we're talking about mortgages, nothing there is easy.
But you can still, it could be home, it could be business, it could be second. There's
you could probably find some. You're right. Maybe local, Fairfield, New Jersey, home mortgage,
right,
consultant or whatever. So
because there you're appealing to somebody who doesn't want to deal with just an online mortgage broker. They want that personal touch.
Exactly, and it's the more specific you are, the easier it is going to be to rank, and then also they tend to convert higher because, like you said, they know exactly what they're looking for. and you get that person on your site, and that's like the exact person that should be on there, and they tend to convert higher.
Right. Well, you've mentioned it several times, and it's the fact that now in many cases we do have to pay money to get noticed in the digital world. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google AdWords, all of these various things. So what are some effective paid online strategies? Because whether you're a giant company or the little one-person shop, we still have to be conscious of our money. So what are some great strategies for that?
So I go back to this. Going back to Google Ads, it's a big part of our digital business, and you just want to make sure you're starting off slow and bidding on very specific keywords. Keep the budget capped at a level you're comfortable with. Test running the ads during office hours. There's the ways you can adjust a bid if it's mobile versus not mobile. Desktop usually converts higher than mobile, so you can just have all your traffic go to desktop.
Okay.
To desktop, and then depending on your audience, retargeting is really important. So that means when someone comes to your site, they see your banner ads. If you've ever been to Amazon and put something in your cart, it'll haunt you for the rest of your life.
Oh, I know.
That's retargeting.
Well, that's actually how I've started doing some of my searches. I'll just do a quick search, and then I know ads for it are going to pop up in Facebook and all those, and I'm never going to have to look again. It'll just keep appearing.
You won't have to think. It's just follow you around. Yep. So do retargeting on Google's network. That's part of Google Ads. You could do retargeting on Facebook. Is important because it just amplifies everything you're doing. You're pushing people to your site, and they leave, and they're going to see you everywhere. That's a pretty effective paid advertising strategy. There's like new things that we're sort of dabbling with. I don't like Reddit advertising. We don't have much experience with that, but I'm curious about it. I kind of want to try it, but I don't know if to say anything about it. But I think for the audience listening, you might want to look into Reddit advertising. They've recently.
If that's your audience, yeah, sure.
And here's the thing from what I'm learning with Reddit, they have like subreddits for every possible niche. So it's something that we're exploring here, but I think it's something that your audience might want to take a look, and because it's sort of new and kind of untapped, unlike Google Ads.
Well, and then, there's just the basics, folks. When you get that lead, you need to follow up with that lead. And sometimes I'm guilty of that. and be consistent. I like the people that blog, and, again, I'm guilty of this. Let's blog whenever we might remember to. Much more consistent, obviously, with my social media posts and things like that. But we mentioned it. There's so many things out there that distract us. Unfortunately, you have to keep reminding people that you exist.
All right. Yeah, you do. Consistency is very important. Even if it's just once a month. There's an SEO blog I follow by this guy named Brian Dean. It's Backlink so backlink with an O at the end, backlink.com. He only posts once a month, but man, that blog post is the most epic thing you've ever read. So he just spends the whole month writing this blog post and releases it, and then everyone goes crazy over it. They share it, they link to it, and it's all he needs to write. So you got to find out what works for you in terms of consistency. Yeah.
I remember, when blogging really became popular about, 5 years ago or so, there was one person that I followed, and great marketing person, who had lots of great tips, but he had clearly decided, I will post every day. And that was just it. And that was great for a while. And then he ran out of things to post. Oh, no. And so he posted things, and you went, okay. And it wasn't even that he was saying things again. He really had just run out of things to say. So, it was a waste. Yes, he was posting every day and he was keeping that commitment, but we didn't read it, and it really didn't take too long before, initially you just don't read. And then pretty soon you go unsubscribe, because I'm not going to read it. So why even bother? So then even if he had come back to posting really great content, he'd lost a lot of his readers.
Yeah, Seth. You're not referring to Seth Godin, are you?
I'm familiar with him. Yeah, read his books.
Okay. Yeah, he blogs pretty often like that. But he's a pretty well-known marketer. His content, so it's like 200, 300 words. He basically says what he needs to say in as little words as possible, and then just blogs often. He's got a huge audience, so but he started out that way when he didn't have an audience, so. Yeah, you just got to find out what works and find a consistency or a schedule that you can actually stick with, because, like you said, eventually it's going to be hard to think about, ideas. And that kind of goes back to what I said with the SEO, the content tip, where you look at old blogs and you upgrade them.
Right.
So you don't need to think of new topics. You can sprinkle in new topics and then kind of upgrade previous posts. So it kind of alleviates the need to have to constantly think of new topics. You can use Uber Suggest to do keyword research, which will prompt topic ideas. So, but eventually you're right. It will become difficult to think of something to write about.
Well, and when it's difficult to think about writing it, when you do write it, it sometimes becomes difficult to read it. Like I said, you're reading it going, well, he didn't care about this, or she thought this was really boring. You can tell they were forced into doing it. So you know what? If that means you're doing it once a month, that's great, because then you've got that passion and you've got it there and you do that for that, and then you're done. You go on the next month, you have that little passion again, and away you go.
There's an author I follow. He's a sales trainer. He's got maybe 10 books. His name is Jeffrey Gitomer. He's famous for his red. I'm trying to blank on the name of it. It's Red Book of Selling. Red Book of Selling. Right. It's like it is a little book, and it's very well done. And his whole thing is he writes 100 words, I think it is, a day. He commits to writing 100 words a day. And if you do that, you think about that, that's 3,000 words a month.
Right. And 100 words a day is not a lot.
And that's a
that's
doable.
doable.
Even if you don't have anything to say, you can come up with 100 words.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you can scroll through your LinkedIn feed. Oh, okay. Well, I can write about that, or, turn on TV, whatever, I always tell people there's probably something going on in the world that you can comment on. Right now, as we're recording this, NCAA tournaments are playing. And so, we've seen some great things where people have been, combining things like that. And so you can probably find 100 words worth.
Right. Exactly. I thought it was a pretty cool way to look at it.
Yeah, I like that, because if you and it's kind of those bite-sized chunks. I forget who, somebody always talks about it. Do it in bite-sized chunks, or how do you eat the elephant? One of those type of things. We eat bite-sized pieces as opposed to, oh my God, I have this huge thing to do.
Exactly.
Well, oh my gosh, Ryan, we're almost at the top of the hour. We've talked about so much fun stuff, and we just scratched the surface. We could geek out about this, as for a long time. But for people who are interested, tell us a little bit more about Ballantine and the services that you can provide.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick little description. We 53-year-old company, print and digital marketing agency out of New Jersey. I'm third generation. We have about 20 people here at the moment. And we just love marketing. And if anyone's interested, they can visit us at Ballantine.com. I actually set up a special page for your audience.
Cool.
It's Ballantine.com/business power hour.
Perfect. I love it.
Business power hour. And there's a free offer on there if anyone wants a free analysis of their website via video.
Great.
I'll take a look at their site, and I'll kind of do a little screen share and just kind of walk through it.
Very cool.
What I see.
And it's like, ooh, what would you tell me about mine? I should have you look at the Business Power Hour. That should be, but yeah, it's something. And, obviously you can work with clients around the world. That's the other cool thing about technology. We don't have to be in one place. It's a little bit harder from the print end because, people like to sometimes see what they're printing before it prints. But for all of your digital work, you can definitely work with anyone from around the world.
We can. Most of our clients are locals. We can see them, but we do have clients in the West Coast. We tend to focus on a certain type of business, certain location, but we do have clients in Washington State, California. And so, right.
Are there any specific industries that are you kind of your niche?
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, we decided to really zero in on manufacturers, professional services, and contractors.
Okay.
So still pretty broad, but still sort of niche, and it's been a game changer for us. So you kind of hinted at before about not selling to everyone, and so those once we shifted to that, and we still get other clients, but they have, in terms of our efforts, that's what we focus on, and it's been a really big move for us. A good move.
I love that. And it's interesting. We mentioned the fact that people don't want to turn away business, but in so many cases, when you get that sweet spot, you know who you want to work with. And so then if somebody comes along and they're not quite a good fit, then you can choose, okay, sounds interesting, I'm going to do it. Or you can say, you know what, it's not a good fit for us, but we know somebody who can help you. And then the really nice thing is you refer them to somebody else, and then everybody's happy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's it's been a good move for us. I definitely recommend niching down to anyone listening.
Well, how do people find you and connect with you online?
So you click me on LinkedIn, Ryan, R-Y-A-N, Cote, C-O-T-E, and then the Ballantine.com/business power hour link is
Perfect.
Definitely a good place to go.
I love it. Well, Ryan, what are some final words you would like to leave with folks?
We didn't talk about this, but this is going to be kind of a curveball. But one thing I want to mention.
No, it's a teaser for next time. How about that?
I'm a big fan of morning routines. I've got this. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I've got a morning routine of like meditation and reading and exercise. I even started taking cold showers. First time I did it, I was screaming. She runs into the bathroom. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "The water's cold." She's like, "Oh, we're out of hot water."
Yeah,
like,
there's a
no. I'm doing it on purpose. And she's like, "You're so weird." And she just walks out of the bathroom. But I'm really big into like this personal development, self-growth, and morning routines. So my recommendation is everyone just just Google morning routines, and I recommend everyone gets one. So, start the first hour of your day on your terms. It's a game changer.
Well, I love it because you're, like you said, you're starting the day the way you want to start it, as opposed to, oh my God, what do I have to do now? What fire do I have to put out? All those various things. So even for some people, it might only be 10 minutes, but for somebody else, they might be able to do a little bit longer. So, Ryan, this was absolutely fascinating. I love chatting. Like I said, love geeking out about this because this is my passion. This is my heart. So I love being able to talk with my guests about things like this.
Thanks, Deb. I really enjoy being on the show, and thanks everyone for listening.
Great. Well, I am Deb Creer. I've been having a great time talking with Ryan Cote. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer. Join us next time for more real-life stories and techniques to power up your business.
You've been listening to C-Suite Radio. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.